Hello and welcome to Notes from the Den. This week again coming to you from the Den, secret location in the South Downs. The sun is shining today, the spring has officially arrived here, which is very nice to see. I, however, have been fairly under the weather for the last week with an absolutely stinking cold. So I've not been in a very creative mood this week, really. And therefore I've not really been writing much. I've been attending to the long list of other stuff that I've been putting off while I've been in a creative mood, and have been, working through a lot of that, which has been, necessary. In more exciting news, though, the revised editions of the book arrived at my office. My first shipment of books turned up in some very heavy boxes, which I summoned my last remaining energy to carry up the stairs, and then posted all of the early orders of those books. So if you did place one of those orders, thank you very much. It's on its way to you now. It's one of my favourite things, sending out orders, actually, because you get to kind of send things to far-flung corners of the world. When I first started this, I assumed I'd just be sending books around Brighton, but actually they go all over the world. I sent to Spain, Canada, Cornwall, Ireland, Wales, Norfolk. I've also sold books in Portugal, Japan, South Africa, all over the world. So it's been really exciting to see those books go off and make their way to their new owners. I hope you are enjoying it if you have ordered one. If you're listening to this and thinking, oh, I didn't know you had a new edition of the book, Simon, where can I get one? Thank you for asking. Shameless plug time. You can get the book at reframingmarketing.com, and it's a nice segue, actually. It leads me directly on to the other thing that happened this week. I had a couple of messages from people saying that they'd really struggled to place an order for the book because the website that was processing the orders for me, which was Square, wasn't working, which meant they weren't able to buy the book. Now, those people very kindly tried on their phone and in a different browser and all sorts of different things, and eventually managed to place an order for the book. But it made me realise, actually, I think that the Square website has been not working very well for quite a while. I decided to take matters into my own hands and just made a form on my own website, basically, that just takes the orders directly. So I'm not using Square anymore. So if you have previously tried to buy a book and it didn't work, it wasn't you, it was me. And I hope I've fixed it now. So if you do fancy trying again, then rest assured that those IT worries are hopefully resolved. But that got me thinking a little bit about one thing that we find quite often with our agency clients, and that's when they'll say things like, we've had this website for a while, but it doesn't seem to get as many leads. We've got a contact form on there, but nobody uses it. And then when you actually go to test the form, you realise that the form isn't working. And that's the reason there's no leads. And more often than not, when people come to us with a website that is not getting them many leads, the reality is that the form is simply broken. So if you have a website that has a form on it, I would highly recommend you set yourself a little calendar reminder once a month to just check that you have actually tested the form and also that you are still getting things come through. Yes, that's my handy tip. So out of what was a very frustrating afternoon, making a new form and redirecting everything that was directing to Square, I've managed to make my own order thing. But it definitely got me thinking about just checking that things you've set up and thought were working. It's always best to check because you never quite know. So I'm going to keep it brief this week because, I'm quite low on energy. But I think it's also important to recognise when you're low on energy. And this week I've been really trying not to put pressure on myself to be creative. I keep thinking, you need to write a blog, you need to put something out, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I've been really trying to pull back from that and think, actually, there's no point trying to force being creative because what comes out just won't be worth it. And the next thing I want to write is actually quite a sort of conceptually large concept piece. So I think that's going to take a little bit more energy to write. So I'm hoping to get into that next week. But I think that is part of what I want to talk about with marketing in both my work and my book, is that actually it's about being human with it, and it's not trying to be too mechanical and not trying to feel forced. it should be good fun. It should, obviously, it's going to be a bit repetitive and a bit tiresome at times. Obviously, there is always elements of that in all work, but I think it should be fun and it should be energizing and it should feel like you're making some progress, even if it is only a very small step. There should be something rewarding about the work, whatever it is you find in that work. And I think if you do find yourself at a point of lower energy or feeling a bit drained, then it's important to listen to that, because otherwise you just end up either putting out half-assed work or it just not feeling right. And then people start to know that. But also, you risk burning out if you push yourself too hard. So that's all from me this week. I'll be back next week with another update. I hope that you have a good week. And until next time, happy marketing.